Hey everyone, so today we are going to continue on with the Learn the Tarot series. We are still in the Major Arcana. We're on card 17 of the Major Arcana, and that is the Star card. We just came off of card 16, which was the Tower. In this series, you will notice that sometimes I talk about the numbers and sometimes I don't. If they are drawn to me to talk about, then I will. This is because I tend to read more intuitively, and although it's very, very, very important to still learn like the traditional side of tarot, so you have that knowledge in terms of the symbolism and things of that nature, it's really important that I really stress that there are millions and hundreds and billions of different ways to read the cards. There's no one meaning, and this will always change depending upon what you're drawn to in it, in terms of what your focus is on, and then more importantly, the natural intuitive information, the natural psychic information you're downloading from spirit when doing the reading. And it will also change depending upon what you're receiving in terms of those natural downloads, what the question was, and if there's other cards around, what the story of those other cards are telling you. And there's just many different things that you may feel, see, or hear, or just know when reading and interpreting a card. And sometimes the card itself is just a catalyst for that message to come through, just to spark something, and the rest could be fully intuitively guided, if that makes sense. So, but it's still important when you're, especially when you're starting off at least, to kind of learn about the traditional symbolism and even in terms of learning about where tarot originated and things of that nature. Now, I read more intuitively, which is why I pointed out that sometimes I talk about the numbers in this particular tutorial series and sometimes I don't. And today I'm drawn to the numbers 17, 1, and 7. The number 1 is about a first step. It's about the self. And often it's about being more in the solo energy of things. And if we're coming off of the Tower energy, which was the card just before, and going into now the Star, a lot of the time this will come up when there's an energy of coming out of the darkness, out of a dark time, out of a harsh truth, or now there's more clarity. The light is shining in the darkness, like stars come out at night. They exist in darkness, but it also reminds you that even in that, there's always still some light, and that there's more clarity to be gained. And so the number 1 is like coming back into self with whatever that realization might be, whatever that first step and that next action that might need to happen next, and maybe even starting over altogether after everything was destroyed in the Tower card, whether it was an illusion that you had, a denial, whether it was continuously trying to hold on to something that wasn't for you anymore, or whether it was an environment that you didn't need to be anymore, in a relationship, a job, whatever it was that was removed. This is bringing in the energy of that first step in a new and different direction. 7, because it's 17, 1, and 7. 7 is a number of spiritual growth, being on the right path, even if it might not seem like it at the time, because even sometimes what may seem like a step back is a reroute. What may seem like it's not for you may just be a lesson, and sometimes it feels harmonious. But spiritual growth and also being on the right path, even if whether you realize it or not at that time, there's little glimpses of clarity that may be coming through. It's also a matter of needing to have faith and trust in divine timing and having patience with this journey with the number 7. It's a need to have faith. And then in numerology, if you add up 1 and 7, the 17, add up 1 and 7, you get an 8. And then that brings in the energy of karmic lessons, infinite possibilities, infinite knowledge, infinite pathways, infinite support, infinite love, infinite knowledge. You know what I mean? It can bring in the energy of abundance. It can bring in the energy of cycles. So even though you have ended one cycle, and sometimes it may have a familiar feeling to something of the past before, it's a first step into a new and different path, even though it may have some similarities, if that from previous, if that makes sense, but you're a step further ahead because something of the past was just destroyed in that Tower card, and now we're in the Star energy, which is regaining that balance, regaining that hope. This is about, even though there may have been struggles, hope is still shining through. So keeping in mind that sometimes, and this will depend upon the other cards around it, like if it's more of a positive reading that you're feeling and sensing or seeing or hearing, however you're receiving that knowledge, whether it's more of a positive reading in terms of the other cards around it that are telling the story, then it's like, okay, yeah, keep holding on to hope, keep being optimistic, one way or the other. But if the rest of the cards may seem a bit more negative or questionable, or if you're receiving something of a more negative nature, or maybe you got it reversed and you're getting this feeling that maybe the hope that you're holding on to is not in your highest good anymore. Like you're kind of in this denial stage of hope. Like the Tower just showed you some harsh truths and you're still holding on to hope in a denial place. And if you're getting that vibe in a reading for someone else, or maybe for yourself if you're doing the reading, then Spirit may be saying like, hope is beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to have. And you can still have hope that eventually something positive can come in. But at this particular chapter in life, what you're holding on to may be not for you anymore, or it's not serving you to hold on to that particular attachment of hope. Still have hope, but open it up to receiving whatever is best for you in your highest good, and let the universe fill in the blanks. Get out of your own way and release attachment to certain things, if that is making sense. But hope is another message of this, whether it's feeling more like a positive hope or more of a hope that right now is not serving you. And sometimes when it's reversed, I see it as the hope is no longer serving you, or you're being naively optimistic, or you're being delusional to some degree, or you've made up an illusion, a fantasy in your head. Sometimes that vibe comes up reversed, but as you guys know, I don't put too much weight in the reversals. And sometimes it could also come up that way again, even if it's upright, depending upon what the cards are around it. And sometimes this is just pure, beautiful hope, optimism, joy, the universe having your back, again, in a positive message, just depending upon what you're sensing and what the cards are around it, the story that's coming through. The Star card to me is also representing your manifestation ability, like knowing when, or feeling the urge or the inspiration to create, to manifest and co-create with the universe. It's also a card that represents starseed energy. You know what I mean? Especially if you're really drawn to the cosmos and the universe and things like that. Planets and the stars. It's also a message to just really put intention into your manifestation ability. And in doing so, things may begin to take flight. Because my eyes often go, there's a bird back here. And I know that this bird has different symbolism and can mean different things. But I often see this as, if you see this message and it's time to co-create with the universe, a new path, a manifestation, a new beginning, whatever it might be, eventually it will take flight. And it could also be a message of, birds also are messengers from source. So it could also be that you may be receiving the messages of what needs to be done, or to see clearly, or what to create. It's also an energy of balance. The tangible world and the 5D world. The tangible world meaning like the 3D world that we see, that we're standing in right now, if you are physically alive in this particular body on earth in this lifetime. And the 5D world, which is the psychic world, the emotional world, the spiritual realm, because that is what is represented by the water, and the tangible world, the 3D world, is represented by earth energy, grounded energy. So it's about coming into balance with both. You need to have balance in both, not to be too much in one or the other, because being in balance with both is what will serve you. Being in balance with both is what will help you to manifest, to create, and to continue on this healing process and journey, because the Star card is also about a lot of healing, especially when it comes to the self or the individual on this spiritual path, on this spiritual journey, on this spiritual growth lessons. as we tie it back to the numbers, the numerology of it all. So that's pretty much what I have for the star card right now. If you guys have your own special messages that you've noticed about the star card, or how it's resonated with you in readings, or how it's played out with you in certain readings, comment below. I love hearing those things. I love learning, because like I said, there's not one way of any card or message, and so maybe by learning from each other, we can also begin to see it in different light, in different ways. So comment below, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and if you choose to, you could always tip by buying me a coffee for being your teacher and all this. That information is down below in the description box, as well as my website, which is where you can go to book a personal reading with me. Bye.